Hello YouTube! Today in the Naughty Librarian, I am bringing you my YALLWEST book haul. YALLWEST is kind of like the Disneyland of book festivals because most of the day you're just standing in lines for a long time to get something that lasts like 15 seconds long. There's lots of different lines at YALLWEST. There's signing lines for your favorite authors so you can meet them and have them sign your book. And also there are lines literally around the corner for booths, and all these booths are for like different publishers or all kinds of things, and all the publishers are usually giving out their ARCs. Also, fun fact, there are so many girls who like rope in their boyfriends to like stand in line for them so they can be in two places at the same time. I did this to my poor boyfriend. I made him come with me and he stood in lines all day and he didn't complain at all because he's a champion and a wonderful boyfriend. But throughout the day you will see like small packs of men around just holding stacks of books looking lost until some woman comes over and takes them by the arm and leads them away. So it's really funny to watch, honestly. So next time you're at YALLWEST, I highly recommend just looking for the Poor Lost Boyfriend Club. But anyway, let's just talk about all the amazing ARCs I was able to get at YALLWEST. The first ARC I got was That's Not What Happened by Kody Keplinger. This is about the aftermath of a school shooting. There was this girl who got killed in a bathroom and her best friend was there, and basically the whole story of this girl's martyrdom is apparently incorrect, and so her friend is debating whether she should correct the story and tell them what actually happened or not. And yeah, so I feel like this is going to get very heavy. The next ARC I got was The Sacrifice Box by Martin Stewart. It kind of has like a Stranger Things feel to it, especially with that font, for heaven's sakes. Essentially about these friends in the 80s, these like kid friends, and then there's this box, and they all make a sacrifice and put it in the box, and then they're like, you can never open the box, and I guess like 4 years later, the box had opened, and like bad things happened. So, Stranger Things with a box. This is an ARC I was really excited to get, and it was Grim Lovelies by Megan Shepherd. It's kind of, you know, like in Cinderella where like the fairy godmother turns all of these mice into like coachmen? That's kind of the idea here. There's this witch and she has beasties, which are like, they were creatures and she turned them into humans. And it's about their life once they're human, because like how do you go back to being a mouse when you've already been like a human? Like, you know, it's kind of a weird thing. And I guess the witch dies and all of these like beasties are going like, well, we don't want to be mice again, so we gotta figure some shit out. I'm excited, it sounds really cool. This is another book I actually heard about before and I wanted to read anyway, and I happened to get the ARC, so I was super excited. This is Invisible Ghosts by Robin Schneider, and it's about a girl who has a ghost brother. I guess her brother died and he's stuck around as a ghost, so she hangs out with her ghost brother, and then this guy she used to know, then used to know her and her brother growing up, like left, and then he comes back, and then like romance, I'm assuming, and ghosts. This is another book I had heard about and was really excited to get. This is Empress of All Seasons by Miko Jean, and it is about, there's this palace, and you have to like go through these 4 different rooms based on the seasons and like win that level, I guess. It's like a murder game, and then if you win, you get to marry the prince. So it's kind of like Extreme The Bachelor. However, the only people who are not allowed to play in these games are yokai, and they're like magical creatures, and then there's this girl who's like half yokai and half like person, and then she's in this competition. So I assume some drama and crazy things will happen. This next ARC I had no idea it existed. There was a game where if you picked a lollipop and it had a color at the end, you get an ARC, and I picked a good lollipop, so they gave me this book. This is Rabbit and Robot by Andrew Smith. It is about these kids, and they go up in this spaceship to take like a cruise in orbit around the Earth, and I guess while they're up there, everything on Earth goes to shit. Like it's the 30th World War. And all the robots and things on this spaceship, or the people, I don't know if they're robots or people, they go crazy and get to be cannibals. So now they're stuck on a cannibal ship wondering how they're gonna get home because everything on Earth went to shit. So it seems kind of funny, honestly. Even though those things I just said were horrible, like it actually seems like it's gonna be a comedy and I'm kind of like into it. Next I have Give Me Some Truth by Eric Gainsworth. And this is actually a book I did not hear about before Y'all West, and then I just happened to get it, and I was like, oh, that sounds kind of cool, actually. It's kind of a coming-of-age story about this kid growing up on a reservation, and he wants to be a musician, and then there's this girl, I think, who moves back to the reservation from the city, and then, like, they become friends and play music and stuff. And I was really interested in it because I haven't read a lot of books about Native Americans, and so I kind of really want to read a book from that perspective because it's something new. And yeah, music and Native American culture, so I was kind of in. This seems like it might actually be pretty good. I also got Not If I Save You First by Ally Carter. This is a book I was actually super excited to get because I had heard about it and thought it sounded like a cool story. It's a thriller. It's about this girl whose father was in the Secret Service, and then like they like bone out for some reason, they leave, and her former best friend was the president's son. President's son shows up at her house like 6 years later and then like gets kidnapped immediately apparently, and she has to like save him. And I was like, kick-ass female, awesome. Maybe like former friend, maybe enemy to lover romance. Like, I am into it. It's also in the Alaskan wilderness. Like, it has so many like things that sound cool, so I was in and I was so happy to get a copy. This next arc I got is Listen to Your Heart by Casey West. Casey West is one of those contemporary YA authors that is very popular, but I actually have read none of her books, but I know that they're very popular. This is about this girl, and she is shy, and then her friend's like, hey, let's do this cool podcast, and she's like, all right, and then she ends up being the host of it, and ends up being really good at it, and I guess some guy calls in, and he's just like, I have this crush, and I need advice, and she's like, okay, and she gives advice, and I feel like this kind of has like a Cyrano de Bergerac kind of feel to it, so I don't know, that's what I'm getting out of it, but maybe teens don't know what Cyrano de Bergerac is, but that's what I'm getting, and I think it might actually be cool if it's done right. This is another arc I was super, super excited to get. This is Finding Yvonne by Brandy Colbert, and I love Brandy Colbert as a human because she's so wonderful, and I love running into her, and every time I run into her, I'm so happy. And she was signing arcs of this at the festival, and I was like, I need to get it. Greg, get in that line. So Poor Beleaguered Boyfriend came very much in handy because I got this arc and I was so excited of it. This is a coming of age story about this girl named Yvonne, and ever since she was like a kid, she's played violin, and it's her dream. She's gonna go to college on a violin scholarship. The thing is, she's actually probably not that great at violin, so she has to re-examine her life, and there's like boys and drama and all kinds of stuff, and Brandy Colbert is just an amazing author, so I'm like super excited to read it. Next up I got Freshman by Tom Allen and Lucy Iveson. This is about starting at college and thinking like, oh, I'm finally out of high school and I know nobody around me, I can be anybody. Like, I don't have to be the same person I was in high school. And it's also, there's this soccer team, and the soccer team like has all these incriminating photos of all these girls, and they've been trading them with each other because they're all a bunch of fucking garbage humans, so I already hate them. And it's about wanting to take them down. And they should be, because that's disgusting, and I am upset reading the blurb, but I hope they get taken down with a soccer ball to the nuts. Oh my goodness, this was the arc like I was dying to get all day. Like, this is one I was like, I'm not leaving the festival without it, period. I have an arc of The Cheerleaders by Kara Thomas. I friggin' love Kara Thomas. She writes like the twistiest, turniest, dark and juicy books, and I want, like, literally I'll read anything she writes. They're amazing. And she wrote this book called The Cheerleaders, and basically there was this group of cheerleaders, and they all got murdered off eventually, and so the new crop of cheerleaders comes around, they start getting murdered off, so eventually like there's just no more cheerleaders because being a cheerleader means you get murdered in this town. And that's kind of on par for most of Kara Thomas's work because there's a lot of murder in it. And I'm like so in. Like I don't know more than that, but I love it because Kara Thomas. Like, I know I'm gonna love this. I also got In Paris with You by Clementine Beauvais. I think that's how you say her name. There's accents in it, so I'm not sure. And I have literally no idea what this is about because the back has no blurb really, so I'm assuming it's about Paris with 2 people in it. So YouTube, like these next 2 books, like I can't even, like my nerd heart is exploding with happiness right now. So like I heard Kiersten White was going to be signing ARCs of the 3rd book of her Conquerors series, Bright We Burn. By the way, I friggin' love that series. It's amazing. And they're only giving out 100 copies. I'm sure as shit getting in that line, I'm getting a copy no matter what. I know I'm being a bit intense, but like there was no way in hell I was leaving this festival without that ARC in my hand, period. Oh, and it worked out. I got this ARC. Oh my gosh, my nerd heart. My nerd heart can't take it. It's exploding into like a million other little nerd hearts. I love this series so much. In this series, it is the real life, so to speak, of Vlad Dracul, so it's all historical fact, but this is like the dramatized version of it. Also, Vlad Dracul is a girl, so it's very, very good. Oh my gosh, these are some of the best, well-rounded, 3-dimensional characters I've ever read in my life. I love this series. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting the ARC and she's gonna sign it in my nerd heart. Like, my nerd heart looked like this with full of other little nerd hearts. It was, oh, I'm so happy. Okay, so just when my little nerd heart was exploding over Bright We Burn, since I was in the front of this line, they had a special gift, which was another ARC from Kiersten White. Oh my god, I have an ARC of The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein. Oh my gosh, like remember all those nerd hearts that exploded into other nerd hearts? All of the other nerd hearts are making more nerd hearts. Like it's like a sea of nerd hearts exploding in here. This is one of my most anticipated reads of the year. I am freaking out that I got a copy of it. You don't know how happy I am. Like, you don't know. Like, I'm holding it in. Like, I seem pretty, like, crazy about it. And this is holding it in crazy. Like, full crazy, like, someone would call the police. This is about Victor Frankenstein, and he's a teen, and he's kind of angsty and a loner. And they're like, dude, you need a friend. So his parents find this girl named Elizabeth, and they're like, hey, street urchin girl, you look like you're hungry. Want to come in for a meal? By the way, you're best friends with our son now. So I'm in, like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Like, my nerd hearts, they're all exploding. Oh man, those are all the ARCs I got. So many ARCs. I did good. Like, I did really well that day. My boyfriend deserves, like, a dinner at Red Lobster because he was fantastic that day. Please let me know in the comments down below which one of these ARCs are your favorites, which ones are your most anticipated releases. I want to know what you're excited about. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like, and if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!